Rebuilding a Rustproof Land Rover, Part 25. Taking the excellent advice given by the man at Bygone Diesel Pumps, I wanted to increase the working pressure of the injectors to 2,500 psi. This involved removing the injectors that I reconditioned in an earlier episode. I machined a small brass plug for a piece of silicone rubber tubing to hold some pressure in the fuel filter and prevent it draining. I removed the injectors and set them to 2,500 psi working pressure using my injector test pump. Then I refitted them to the engine, and I can really hear and feel the difference in performance. The top speed is still 59 miles per hour, but it sounds a lot better. Here's a shot of the engine bay before I removed the injectors. As you can see, they're in a bit of a bad place. Especially for me, standing on my old car battery, it didn't do very much for my bad back. This time I didn't take it to Rossmore Garage. I thought it was going to be easier and cheaper to do it myself. The text you're about to see is from episode 23. Some interesting injector information from the man who rebuilt the CAV pump. The CAV setting is 180, which is 2,500 psi, and 180 shown in the Haynes manual, which is 2,200 psi. Set them to 2,500 psi. At 2,500 psi, you will save money as the fuel coming out of the injectors is gas. Also, the engine will have improved starting in cold temperatures. At the CAV factory, they were set at 2,500 psi in the 1970s. Removing and refitting the injectors was all done in my very small garage. Here I'm starting the Land Rover, and as you can see, it's very smoky indeed. With a bit of luck, things can only get better. Here we go then. The first thing to do is to undo the return pipe from the injector. This is part of a common rail that returns surplus fuel to the fuel filter. The idea of this is to stop the fuel from running back into the tank. I recently bought new fuel piping for this because the old stuff was held together with bits of rubber tubing. I have to remember that I'm not working with brass fittings on a steam engine. This part, for instance, was very, very tight indeed, and I was a bit worried about shearing it off, but I needn't have bothered. It's a lot stronger than brass. To remove the rest of the banjo fittings, I used a socket, because there isn't much room to manoeuvre using a spanner. The big problem was not to lose the aluminium washers, because if they fall onto the floor, I will never find them amongst the gravel. In actual fact, I only dropped one of the aluminium washers on the floor, which is not too bad because I do have some spares. Here are the 4 injectors on the workbench next to my diesel test pump in the main workshop. I have a few injectors. There are a couple of rusty ones in the tub behind the 4 that I reconditioned. There are a few do's and don'ts in this episode. Do not put the injector in a vise like this unless you have protective brass jaws. If I was going to do this regularly, which I am not, I would make a jig to hold the injector in the vise without gripping it. When I fitted new nozzles to these injectors, it was really difficult. Here we go, injector number 1. I've removed the cover. Here in slow motion is the original setting. All I have to do is tighten the spring inside the injector, and in no time at all, I easily achieved 2,500 pounds per square inch. Time to put it back together. Injector number 2. First of all, remove the top cap as previously shown, and then use a small Allen key in the threaded part. By rotating the Allen key and effectively compressing the spring inside this threaded part, you can easily achieve 2,500 psi. I do notice that the mist coming from the injector is a lot finer than it was. Injector number 3. The process is identical for all of the injectors. Here I'm rotating the Allen key, and it's about the same amount on every one. And here we go, 2,500 psi from the pump. This is a bit like mass production, and thankfully there's only one left to do. Injector number 4. Same principle, rotate the threaded part, compress the spring, pump it up to 2,500 psi, then refit the cover tightly in the vise using a spanner. It's really important not to breathe in the vapour that comes from these injectors, so don't hang around and wear a mask. I thought I would run this sequence in slow motion. You can see that the jet from the injector is perfect and it sounds like a machine gun. This is running at 10% and it has a very different sound. It's sort of quite pleasant. It's very important when working with injectors to make sure that all the components of an injector are tightly fitted together. To replace the cap, I'm using a large adjustable spanner, and I don't think this cap will ever leak. This old injector is not good at all. It is one from a box of old injectors in the workshop, and it definitely needs a new nozzle. You will see how it dribbles even at a lower pressure. Immediately after this demonstration, I put this old injector back in the box of old injectors, and that's probably where it will stay. Each injector was tightened onto the cylinder head, complete with spring washers to stop them working loose, and finally complete with its aluminium washers, I fitted the return rail to the fuel filter. And don't forget, everything has to be nipped up tight. Any loose connections and you will get diesel leaks all over the place. I'm really impressed by the increase in performance, and I'm quite looking forward to running around in it in the countryside this summer. My garage at home, where I keep the Land Rover, is quite small, and it's not high enough to accommodate a Land Rover with a roof. That's why mine doesn't have one. It's not a problem until it rains. That's it for now. Stay safe, stay healthy. Thanks for watching, and I hope you found it useful. Please take the time to visit my Mainsteam Models website and click on the section of the website that says Video Playlists. And by doing that, you can find other videos that you may like to watch. And by using the playlists, you can actually watch the videos back to back.